When we were getting close to 10, I was really shocked. And then when we got past 10, like every year since then, I always clock it. I always clock it. And it blows my mind. It's amazing to me. I feel like we've had like a whole generation of people come through, and yeah, it's astonishing to me that we are 12 years old now, because each day seems so new and so alive, and as if everything's only just begun, but it's not. We're in terms of the age of an institution, we're now a young, middle-aged institution. That's what we are. And I always feel like we're the new kid on the block, and we're coming in and disrupting and changing and bringing something new to the environment, which we still are, of course, but we ourselves as an institution, we're not a baby anymore. Starting was a huge achievement. Making that work, led very much so by Patrick Constantino, who led all of those initial conversations with Howard and the team back in LA. Just making that logistically work, to be able to have the tutors come over here and to be able to have us basically have an international faculty as an independent school, was a big deal. And then when we started with our old venue, we're in our second venue now, with our old venue, when we responded to the particular needs of the tuition that we do, we sort of Frankensteined the place together. Oh, we need another room here, we need another room there. So then we built a mezzanine, and then we did other things, and then, oh, we need another bathroom here, so we put that in. And then really allowing all of those things that we pieced together in our old venue to inform what we did in our new venue, in this venue, so that we took all the lessons and we looked at everything that we needed to facilitate the tuition that we want to deliver. And then we built this venue completely 100% around that. And it was like, okay, we know we need X, Y, and Z, so that has to dominate our thinking when we're looking at this new space. Those sort of parts of our evolution to me have been really significant, knowing that the space we now have really facilitates what we want to do. And then also, I always feel a great sense of pride and excitement every time a new member of our faculty sort of emerges from our Australian community. When we get to the point that we're ready for a new faculty member to start working with people, that's always really exciting. I really, really like that, just because it's growth and it's change and it's new energy and new blood. And I sense that this work that we do, that I think is an absolute privilege to be involved with, I can feel on some level there's a new generation, or the next generation, ready to take it on and move it forward, for all the actors that are gonna follow from here on in, if that makes sense. Like, that's always really exciting. Yeah. Well, it's changed and it's grown just in many ways. We offer a lot more than we used to, just because we have more tutors on ground now. So we're able to offer more programs more often, and have them, because we're not as reliant as we were in the first few years of operation, when the tutors from LA were running a relay race here. One would come for a month, then go back, then another would come for a month. Because we've got people trained up here to deliver the tuition, we can really provide it at a time convenient for actors, that fits around their current commitments, and then also delivers what they kind of want when they need it. That's been a really big, significant change for us over the years. We've also looked to respond, obviously, to the needs of the industry, with particularly post-pandemic now, with the prevalence of self-tests. I think all first round auditions are now self-tests that you do at home. So we have this whole program that Howard's created and that he delivers that's all about just auditioning from home. And more recently, something that our colleague, and you may remember from another video, Jess Martin has led this. We're really looking to diversify at the moment the texts that we have, because they seem very Anglo and not that diverse. So we're looking to change the text that we deal with in the classroom to greater reflect the world that's out there and the community that we work with, the cohort of people that we work with. And that's a really exciting change that I think is really going to bear fruit in the coming months and years. Loads. I know for a fact there are, almost on a yearly basis, there is, to a greater or lesser extent, a production or a theatre company that spins out of this studio that, you know, a cohort of people have got together from a program or across various programs, and they decide that yes, they want to start making their own work and they want to work with like-minded people. So on a very grassroots level, there's always shows going on that I know of are only in existence because those people met at this studio, have an appreciation of each other's work, know they want to work a certain way, and so they start creating their own work. On top of that, I say to people at the start of a course, when you finish, you're going to graduate into a community that you didn't even know was waiting to welcome you. And that's so true. Like if you turn up on set or on the first day of a rehearsal or for a table read for a production you're involved in, and it just comes out in conversation either then or further down the line that someone's trained here, I know, because people tell me all the time that they automatically have an instant connection. And so there's that person that we talk the same language. Oh, and we talk the same language. So if I say this, or if I want to rehearse this way, you're going to be on board with me and you're going to say yes, 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 yes. So there's all of these people that when they're working are able to very quickly be on the same page with another actor, not have to be tentative about how they approach it. Do you want to rehearse this way? I don't know, I don't want to tread on your process, that they can just go into it with complete confidence. On top of that, and it's really not bragging, we have someone to a greater or lesser extent in most productions that are made here now, and that includes the international ones, the ones coming over from the States that have, you know, lots of money that are going to be on, say, Netflix or something like that. There's always graduates of here cropping up. They're out there, they're in the ecology of the industry. There was also a period of time when it was sort of like a bit of an arms race, I think, that when Howard arrived, a whole bunch of mid-career and upwards, so very experienced actors were like, what's this thing over here that I've not had access to before? And really looked to engage with the training. Not at the start of their career, but as I say, mid-career and onwards. And I know for a fact, because they've told me, so many of these people have said it's changed their appreciation of the craft, it's changed how they work, they find work much more rewarding now, they feel they have a reliable process, and that it's given them so much in a career that was already rewarding them and allowed them to sort of re-fall in love, if you like, with acting. I won't name names because I haven't sought their permission, but we have people working all over the world, in Canada, in New York, in London, in Australia, doing all sorts of notable roles in those places. We've got people on, recurring roles on soap operas here, playing leading roles on, streaming services such as Stan and that sort of thing, recurring roles on other productions. They're just all over the place, and yeah, it makes me really proud. This is a big deal for me. This is one of the things that I really love about this institution, and I'm really proud of with this institution. So all of our classes revolve around a core set of acting principles. There are a core set of acting principles that anchors everything. Those principles are in and of themselves wide-ranging and derived, of course, from Howard's work, but within that is leans into influences such as Uta Hagen being most obvious, but then also Meisner and Strasberg and Stella Adler. So it's like Howard's taken these great teachers' works from sort of the last 100 years, distilled them down, added a whole bunch of new stuff and made it relevant for today. And those core principles underpin everything we do, so that there is no internal conflict within the ideology of the classes. So when I trained, I did your classic 3 years training at drama school in London, back in the UK. And so, for one term, I might be doing what they called, say, Stanislavski. And then the next term, I might be doing Meyerhold. Or the next term, I might be doing something they call Brechtian performance. And so within those, there might be ideological conflicts between what I was doing in one unit for a whole term versus what I was doing in another unit for a whole term. And I always felt like I was asked to make some kind of choice or have some kind of preference between these things. And it led to friction. I can tell you that it led to friction within the cohort, within the ensemble. We were confused at times. And so we don't have that. It's like, no, this is everything we think you need to know about acting, but it's also not exclusionary. You can plug other things in. If you go, I've done 6 years of Meisner training and I love it, you can plug our work into that work or that work into our work. So it doesn't force other ideologies out. It to a certain degree welcomes them in and is welcomed into other ideologies, but just taking away that internal conflict is really just unique about us. I don't know another school that's our size that does that. I think we're the only one that has genuinely a belief system, and I'm very passionate about it. And to me personally, as an actor, when I encountered that belief system for the first time, it was revelatory. I was like, that's what acting is. That's how you do it. That's the process of acting. That's how you have technique. That's how you have self-reliance. Yeah, so many challenges because the world has changed in the last 12 years, and so the challenges have changed as well. I remember chatting with Howard, and he says, you'll do one thing, and then you'll realize it a few years later, we actually need to do something else now. We need to change, we need to adapt. And that's one of the things that I love about being an independent school, is that we can do that really quickly when we need to change the demands of the community we're dealing with or the industry at large. Top down, so that comes from Howard, and no joke, it is the number one thing I am most proud of about this institution. A, that we're welcoming, but B, that we have been lucky enough to engage with people that have created an amazing community that spins out of this place and just exists out in the world, of people that support and love and care for each other and help each other along in what is a very tricky profession. We also are very direct and in terms of the structures we have in place, and in terms of safety for people and people feeling welcome, and that takes intention and decisiveness. So we think about what can we do to make sure that people feel safe and welcomed and most supported here. And so we've put in place a number of things over the years. Sort of one of the most recent ones, which is still several years old, is that every time now that we go to work on scenes in scene study, we send people a wellness form so that they can tell us if there's particular material that they don't want to work on, that might have the potential to be triggering for them. And so we said, great, so there's no need to work on that material, that's okay. And then of course what's also really heartening is that sometimes, and we've had this, say in the full-time course, someone fills out the wellness form at the start of the course. lets us know some material they don't want to work on, then they come to us halfway through the course, knock on the door and say, hey, look, I filled that wellness form out, and do you know what, I feel so great here, and it's going really well that if you want to, you can give me that material now. Take that off my wellness form. I'm good. I feel like I can deal with material around that subject matter now. We're also taking steps, I keep referencing Jess's desk, which is over there, led by our colleague Jess Martin, to make sure that we're up on cultural and diversity training as a staff and faculty, because that's changed a lot in the 12 years that we began. The world has changed, the culture has changed, and so we want to make sure that we're inclusive and that's not just gestural, that's real. We want to be literally a safe space for everyone. Honestly, I would love it to be considered, the birth of the Australian studio to be considered as the time when the Australian industry changed. When actors were empowered, where the quality of the work increased, that we raised the bar, both domestically and internationally, because, and this is direct from Howard and everybody else that works in LA, Australian actors have a phenomenal reputation in Hollywood. It's a bit of a thing over there that, American actors will go, oh, here's another Aussie taking our jobs. So we already have, and I say we, I'm not an Australian citizen, but Australia already has this phenomenal reputation internationally, but I don't think it's reflected domestically. And I certainly don't think that overall actors are as respected in this society as perhaps we are in other areas of the world. So if we have a small part to play in that, that would be exciting for me as well. That would be, I would love that to be part of our legacy. But on top of that, I'd just love actors to be really just really being empowered from this institution, going out, creating work, building work, making work that they want to be involved with, writing projects, putting on things together, and just really changing how much agency they have within this industry. I have learned so much, just so much. It's been 12 years, and in that time, I've changed a lot as a human being, on a very logistical level. Outside of the studio, I've become a father twice, bought a house, done those things that, tick boxes of being an adult, if you like. But in terms of me being a person, how the studio has impacted me as a person, Howard has this beautiful thing that he says. It says at a certain level, the study of acting just becomes the study of being a human being. And I found that to be true for myself. Every day I get to go into a room and explore the human condition with willing participants who are open and wanting to share and have dropped all of the blocks. And that has changed me as an individual. I'm more empathetic. I'm inspired on a daily basis. And also, I guess one of the things is that I'm less, this is a good thing, I'm less tolerant of mediocrity. I want things to be special and amazing the whole time, because that can be my day. I can see someone have a breakthrough. I can see someone access something in themselves that they didn't know they could. I can see someone cross a line that I know they'll never go back to working a particular way. Like they'll never be worse than they are in, they'll never do a bad performance in this sort of situation ever again now. And that's amazing, but yeah, it does make you slightly intolerant to things that are mediocre or average. So sometimes when I'm watching a play or watching something on TV, it can be frustrating because you go, I just worked with two actors who were young, let's say they're 22 years old, and they, in this room in Brunswick in Australia, did something that moved me and say 30 other people in the room to tears, and I want that from the work that I see on stage and on screen all the time. We are only where we are now because of the response from the community, from the passion that people have shared, from referrals, from people making a commitment to be here and give this place their time and their attention because they've seen the value, the worth. And I know because on our application forms for our programs, and they're pretty much all application, we have a question: how do you hear about us? And the overwhelming majority of the answers to that is word of mouth. And I get an email, if not daily, absolutely weekly, from someone that says, hey, I was on set and I heard about you, or I was doing this and so-and-so recommended you, or I was at this training over here and someone else in the course said, oh, they did this thing and they think I should check it out. That happens all the time. And that, we just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for actors who've loved it, talking about it with other actors. And so I just kind of want to say thanks to all the people that did that. You've helped create this institution, this place that is an absolutely, I love working here. I love doing this every day. It's a delight. I'm passionate about it. But if it wasn't for you, I could be passionate about it in a room to 2 people, rather than being passionate about it in a room with 30 people, which is much nicer.